Ever since I was about 16 years old, I had this voice. I was even called the voice in university. That was my nickname. Because I'd open my mouth, and even without intending to do so, I'd be heard across a room.
If you would like to come and bid your own farewell to Andy, we would love to see you down here in the CBC Broadcasting Centre.
And I can only tell you how much it means to me.
That voice and what I did with it propelled me through a 45-year career in broadcasting. A career that ended a little sooner than I might have hoped. I was walking towards the coffee shop to get a cup of coffee. I sort of noticed I was crabbing across the floor, meaning instead of walking straight, which is where I thought I was directing my body, I was kind of walking on a diagonal. I didn't know why. It's sort of beyond my power. And then I began noticing that the handwriting I was doing, whenever I did it, was getting increasingly small. And then I was in my car one day, and as I was driving along, I felt a huge glob just sort of fall on my hands. Where'd that come from? I mean, it's like a major glob of saliva. So I went home that day and I put into Google altered gait, crabbed handwriting, and drooling. And it came up, Parkinson's. What Parkinson's is, as it was explained to me, because it's a movement disorder. Your neuromuscular system is sending out constantly. So at the moment my hand is doing this and my leg, which can't do this, maybe if I stood up it would do it. Parkinson's people are used to being told, you look great, you look terrific. That's in the beginning when you really know you're about to be impaired, but the drugs are still working perfectly. The problem is, what scares me is what you would have seen when I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. and I couldn't move. For someone like me who was pretty gregarious, whether I was an interviewer on radio or whether I'm just at a party and other people are telling stories or making jokes, it's important for me to be part of that. I don't mind solitude. I can handle a lot of it. I enjoy my own company. But this has turned me in some ways into a hermit. Nobody knows you when you... Wow. I started taking 2 pills a day. Now I take 20 pills a day. And what you're seeing right now, which is called dyskinesia, is a reaction to the drug. It's not Parkinson's. I'd like to be out doing things in the world, but I just don't feel capable of it because this is the way I am, or because on the other polar extreme I can't move.
Dad, did you ask her if she's going to come up?
No.
When my baby comes, this is really hard. It's like I can't feel comfortable handing the baby to him and leaving because I can't trust that he would not trip and fall.
So at this point, as I continue to lose the ability, my brain continues to lose the ability to produce more and more dopamine. It produces less and less, in fact, as the disease progresses. The only thing I could do, the only important thing I could do to make that better is to get the deep brain stimulation.
Keep looking straight ahead without moving your eyes. So this isn't for everybody. It's a very good strategy for a select number of people. Having fluctuations every hour to an hour and a half with your medication, going from not enough to too much to not enough, that's what we want to help with in Parkinson's. Yeah, this one here. So having deep brain stimulation surgery, if anything, can roll the clock back on the response to medications by a significant number of years. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
So much of my life has been wrapped up in communicating. Maybe that's a definition of being an extrovert, I don't know. But for me, in the middle of the night, all alone, it was scary. It was taking me someplace I didn't know I could take myself.
How are you doing there?
I got admitted on Friday the 13th at 6 a.m. in the morning, and by 11 o'clock I was in the operating room, and it took 6 hours for them to properly locate, using an MRI, to properly locate the place in the brain called the subthalamic nucleus that was responsible for Parkinson's. And because there are no pain receptors in the brain, they didn't give me any anesthetic. And I listened to the drill go into my skull, and I listened to it break through to my brain from my skull, which was very strange.
We are going to start at 10 millimeters above target.
And then they very gradually and slowly inserted these electrodes into my brain, 2 of them, one on each hemisphere.
This could be the biggest game changer in your Parkinson's career. The hope is that you can improve the quality of life.
How are you doing there?
So I come out of the surgery with the electrodes in my brain. I have the neurostimulator under my skin that I can feel, but nothing's going to be turned on for 2 months. So I go on taking my normal medications. I have no help from the electricity the simulator is going to provide. So I have to wait 2 months to find out how much there is of me in the new me.
So I'm going to start doing your electrode impedance, so you may feel tingling on one side or the other, or you may not.
2 months later, I'm at the Toronto Western, and in the morning I walk in with no meds in my system. I want to find out how I'm functioning with no meds in my system, so when they turn on the stimulator, they'll know exactly what it, without the drugs, is doing. And then they turn it on. Very strange sensations, very hard to describe. And it was interesting.
It's normal for you now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even that first day, I felt an immediate effect. It was great. I was walking. I was talking. I'm told that my range of facial expression was a lot better, which is very important to me. One of the reasons I left radio is I felt I could no longer communicate those silent cues to people through my face. So this is now down to 1.
That's correct.
And that was what was coming back, and that was what really moved me.
If we programmed you into changing voltage when you go home, that's when I'll teach you about that. You want to turn it back on again?
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
Now when you have a higher voltage, you may feel like a rush of electricity,
Okay,
but right now it's a low voltage.
I see.
Oh wait, Cedar, what's this?
I don't know, no tricks. I'm just
Wait, up. There you go. Oh, all the way up.
My closest friend said changing my attitude was amazing. All of a sudden I felt optimistic again. For 4 years I basically said no to everything because I didn't think it could be dependable. And now I could say yes to everything. I can feel optimistic, I can make plans. And that's continued in the 6 months since the surgery. Mom?
What?
Feel my head. Put your hand on my head. Feel feel the bumps? Feel the bumps?
No.
You don't feel the bumps?
What are the bumps from?
You remember my brain surgery? They took a drill and they drilled holes in my brain. I wasn't sure I had a future before with the Parkinson's. Since the surgery, I feel like I have a future again.
I don't know that we thought about it. Maybe you did.
I did.
Because you lived with it.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Every second of every day.
But it had a good ending.
It did. Well, it's not over yet, but it's getting better. Yes, absolutely. What really worried me was losing my independence. I couldn't, for instance, imagine before my surgery that one day I'd be able to fly out to Albuquerque alone to see my daughter and my new grandson. Take a break.
Hey, sweetie pie.
Such a simple pleasure, but it felt so good to be able to go see Jesse, hold my grandson in my arms, and know that everything was going to be, for the most part, all right.
It's exciting to get to see him have the opportunity to take on this role, which I didn't know if he would ever get the chance to do. He's definitely a natural, you know, in terms of how he interacts with him and sings to him, and he can be the kind of grandfather I want for him and for him.
When I thought
All was lost.
all was lost,
You gave me hope.
You gave me hope.
No? You came along?
triumph.
Just when I thought all was
Andy Barrie
lost.
today is probably at about, I'd say, 82%. It's tempting. If I could go get my stimulator and probably change the setting of it right now. Maybe my voice would come back and I'd forget about it. But I'm not going to do that because I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's good to live with the way it is and learn to adjust to it accordingly.
Precious friend, you will be there.
Singing in
Singing in harmony. Precious friend, you will be there. Hey.
I can't sing it in harmony. I can't even sing it in tune.